Jess. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Great.
Can't believe this is the last one. We finished the whole workshop.
You did it, girl. I'm so proud of you.
That went by fast.
It actually, well, you really hung in there. I haven't been to hardly any, but you've done it.
You went to more than not, I think, though, honestly. I was looking, I've only really did a couple by myself. It wasn't as much as I thought. We combined
Well,
a couple of the chapters for a couple weeks too, because it just worked out nicely that way.
it really helps people. I started one with two girlfriends and they're just amazed at what they're learning. Amazed.
Are you doing it on Zoom or in person, did you say?
Well, a little of both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
The idea was to get together at my house, but nobody's come over yet, so we do it on Zoom.
I was checking out that Dr. Bob and the Good Old Timers book. That's actually, if you just Google that, they have a free PDF because it's from Alcoholics Anonymous. So it must be like an AA approved piece of literature or something because all of their stuff is free and it's like from their website.
Oh,
So,
neat.
yeah, you can just Google it. So you don't even need to buy the book because I believe like you can get like a used or copy on Amazon right now between like 16 and 20 or something. But I was like, they already have a nice PDF. That'd be a good one to start for online because it'd be available to anybody.
Absolutely. Yeah. I have a growing collection of AA literature because my late sponsor, her husband gave me all her AA stuff and she had a huge collection. I have like a chest that I haven't even opened yet because
Oh, really?
there's all these Tupperware boxes in addition to that chest. So
I
I
got
have
a couple. You gave me a couple. I've got like a Hazelden meditation thing from you, like a little baby 12 and 12. I have this one. I have my little stack right here at my desk. You gave me this one.
yeah, I bet you they're from Sarah. Open the front page. Does
It
it?
is. It says in memory of.
That's my late sponsor, Sarah.
It's so cool. Yeah, I use this every day. I use this one. I have all these little meditation books right up here by my desk. It's a good
Awesome.
reminder.
That Sarah's smiling down from heaven, I'm certain.
Oh, I thought you had one other one. Oh, the Al-Anon book too.
Okay.
I got that from you too. But all right. So yeah, the legacy will live on.
So there's just two pages that I noticed. Or no, maybe there's not. Maybe there's more. No, there's more.
It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's like 5 pages.
Okay.
It'll be a short one.
I was gonna suggest that you just read it if it was just the two, since this is your workshop, but I'm happy to help out if you like. Just let me know.
Okay. Well, I will start off with the introduction. My name is Jessica, and I'm an alcoholic.
Hi, Jessica.
Welcome to the Big Book Workshop. We as leaders do not consider ourselves to be gurus of the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. We do not consider ourselves to be experts in anything at all. For those who care to, please join us in a moment of silence to remind us of why we are still here and for the alcoholic who still suffers. And please join me in the workshop prayer. God, let me set aside everything I think I know about you, AA, myself, and my disease for an open mind and a new experience. Let me be honest and thorough. Amen. For the first couple of weeks, we'll go around the room and introduce ourselves in order to get to know another. I am Jessica and I'm an alcoholic.
Jessica, I'm Jen. I'm an alcoholic.
Hi, Jen. It is the purpose of this workshop to experience the recovery process as outlined in the Big Book of AA, either for the first time or again, so that we may better carry out and understand our primary purpose to stay sober and carry the message to the still suffering alcoholic. We're here to talk about recovery only and go through the 12-step process as outlined in the Big Book of AA. This is not an emotional or intellectual exercise. It is a spiritual exercise so that we can all recover and experience the recovery process as we read it together. It is recommended that anything you hear here that cannot be reconciled in the Big Book 12 and 12 or AA approved literature simply be ignored. Okay, so we are on page 177 in the book. So it actually is it's like 4 pages and we just have the Serenity Prayer. So if you want, I can read the whole thing, or if you want to take turns, we can do that. Does not matter to me. But it says here, so we're on step 12, working with others, and it wants us to read on page 89 in the big book. Whoa, through page 103. 89.
I do not have my big book with me. I'm not at home right now.
We do not have time. 89 through 103. That's like the whole chapter.
No, we don't have time for
I
that.
think that's more of a assignment that if one wishes to pause this video or read beforehand, they can read that. How's that? Okay, but yeah, working with others. So we'll just move on. Having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to alcoholics and practice these principles in all of our affairs. So let's take a look at step 12 for just a moment. There are 3 parts to step 12. The first part is probably the greatest promise to be found anywhere in the big book, which is having had a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps. I think it is a promise to me if I put the first 11 steps to work in my life to the best of my ability, then I can have a spiritual awakening. What is a spiritual awakening? A personality change sufficient to recover from alcoholism. Excuse me. Bill tells us in the 12 and 12 that there are many different kinds of spiritual awakenings, as there are people in AA. But people who've had a spiritual awakening all have had certain things in common, and that is they're able to feel, believe, and do the things that they thought they could not do on their own strength unaided. Now, if that is a criteria for a spiritual awakening, then I believe I have had one of those of some kind, because I certainly feel things that I have never felt before. Today, I feel true love. I never knew what love was. I always had love mixed up with sex and things like that. Today, I realize that it doesn't have anything to do with love. Love is compassion, tolerance, and patience, and goodwill toward fellow man. Today, I feel some of that. Before AA, I never felt any of that, and I could have cared less about you. You have some of what I got of, you could have got some after I got what I wanted, but I was going to get mine first every time. Those feelings have changed. So if that's the criteria, then I'm surely I've had some form of spiritual awakening. Today, I believe things I never believed before. I believe God is a kind and loving God. I believe he stands ready to help with any human being anywhere in the world the instant that they are ready to give back self-will to him and begin to follow his will. Before, I always thought that he was hellfire and brimstone. I believe God disciplines us. That's in bold. Sometimes we are so hard-headed that it takes a big blow for us to get our attention. But I think that we are the ones that punish ourselves, not God, but we blame him for how we feel. My belief about God has changed entirely. So if that's the criteria, then I'm sure that I've had some sort of spiritual awakening. Today, I can do the things I couldn't do before AA. I can stay sober. I could not do that before. And because of the fact I am sober, I am allowed to do many, many things I never could do while I was drinking. So if that's a criteria, then I'm sure I've had some form of spiritual awakening. Now let's look at the second part of step 12. We tried to carry this message. What am I supposed to do with it? Not a message, not the message, not some message, but this message to others. What is this message? Very simple. Having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps. That is the only message that we carry to other people. Sometimes we get into thinking we're healers in AA, or we get to thinking we're martial advisors, or marital advisors, economic advisors, sex advisors. I don't know any group of people in the world that screwed up, that mess up worse than we did, yet we think we can advise other people in those areas. We only know one thing, but I'll guarantee you that the one thing we do know, we know better than anyone in the world, and that is an alcoholic armed with the facts about himself can help another alcoholic learn about the disease of alcoholism. We know more about it than anybody alive because we are the only people in the world who have experienced the disease of alcoholism. The same thing with the recovery process. We're the only people in the world who have experienced the recovery from the disease of alcoholism. Now we can take that unique message and carry that to another human being and help them understand that their problem is the disease of alcoholism. Help understand that their solution will need to be a vital spiritual experience. Help them walk through the program of action so they can have a spiritual awakening and recovery from their disease. We are the only people in the world who can do this. I have to believe that in the 1930s, God got tired of seeing people like us die. He had to take Bill, Bob, Ebby, Dr. Young, and Dr. Silkworth, and even have the Oxford group and others concerned putting this thing together. God has always worked with people, through people. Very seldom does he speak to any one of us directly. We've got him back home who says he does, but he won't give anyone else God's telephone number. He's keeping it for himself. If God worked through people in the 1930s to set this up, it stands to reason that he will work with people today and through people to continue to carry this message to those who are still suffering. There is no alcoholic in this room that shouldn't be dead. We many times did wake up the next morning and say we were not lucky the night before. I don't think luck had anything to do with it. I think we are a chosen people, not as a race, but to do a job. Well, I love that. They tell me today that 96 to 97% of the alcoholics that are alive today will die from their disease, not even knowing that they are alcoholics. 3 or 4% of us manage to stagger into AA, and less than 25 of that 3 to 4% of us recovering. So we are talking about 1 in 100 have recovered from this disease. I used to say, God, why am I an alcoholic? Today, I say, God, why am I not one of those dying from the disease? I have no trouble with God's will. I don't think God is concerned with where I work. I don't think he is concerned with where I live. I doubt whether he's concerned with whom I'm married to in any great extent, but I think there is one thing God is concerned with. What are you doing and what have I given you so free and what I've given you so freely? If we can take this unique knowledge that we have and then you and I together can avert death in countless thousands and thousands of people, not many people in this world would have that privilege. I think we are very unique and we are very, very lucky individuals. The third and last part of the 12 steps says to practice these principles in all of our affairs. Well, what are principles? We've heard arguments go on for hours about this, just like the difference between the defect and shortcoming and wrong. In the chapter, How It Works, Bill said, no one among us has been able to maintain anything like perfect adherence to these principles. We are not saint, Bill says. The principles we have set down are guides to spiritual progress, not spiritual perfection. So on the next page, it has the full version of the Serenity Prayer, if we want to say that together. God, grant me the serenity
To
accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, accepting hardship as a pathway to peace. Taking as he did the sinful world as it is, not as I would have it. Trusting that he will make all things right if I surrender to his will. That I may be reasonably happy in this life and supremely happy with him forever in the next.
Amen.
I like that version. There's this little old lady at a meeting I went to recently, and she gave me this little laminated bookmark. And I have it in one of these little meditation books up here. I thought it was cute. Okay, so what did we leave off with before it? Okay, so we finished with we are not saints. The principles we have set down are guidelines to spiritual progress, not spiritual perfection. So what did he set down just before that statement? The 12 steps of AA, in the forward of the 12 and 12, he says, the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous are a set of principles, spiritual in nature, which practice will expel the obsession to drink. I've never seen Bill write about the principles except when it was in connection with the 12 steps. They are a set of principles. Now, it's easier for me to practice them here in AA. I love you and you love me, and we're going to do our best to not hurt each other. And through practicing these principles in AA, that hour a day that we're in AA, we can be happy, peaceful, and free. But what do we do with the other 23 hours in the day? If I practice these principles in my own home, where I am 10 to 12 hours a day, and I practice these principles with my spouse, I realize how powerless I am over her. I realize the insanity of this. She is mature. She's not going to listen to me anymore at all. I make a decision to turn her her will and her life over the care of God as I understand him. And I inventory me to see why I have the need to control her. And I find those defects of character that cause this. And I talk it over with another human being and I ask God to take them away. I make amends with her quickly when I have harmed her. And there are times I am really ashamed of me. There are times that I treat absolute strangers with more courtesy than I treat my own spouse in my home. If I practice these principles in my own home with her, I could be happy, peaceful, and serene another 8 to 10 hours a day. So how about my children? I realize how powerless I am over them. Can I realize the insanity of me trying to control the lives for them? They're not going to listen to daddy anymore. Can I make a decision to turn their will and their lives over the care of God as I understand him? Can I inventory me and see where I need to control them? Or why? Can I find those defects and do something about it? Can I make amends quickly when I smart off to them once in a while? Could I practice these principles with my children? Could I be happy when I'm with them? If I don't stand a chance with them. All we do is argue and fight from then on. If I can practice with my kids, I can be happy another hour or two a day. How about on the job? I can see how powerless I am over my coworkers. Do I realize that the insanity of me trying to control them? Can I make that decision? If I do this on the job, then I could be happy there another 8 to 9 hours a day. We are down to about 23 hours now. I have 1 hour left. How about the supermarket checkout line, the express line? I've got 3 items. There's an old lady in front of me with a basket full. She's got about 50 things in there. She shouldn't be in this damn line anyway. She needs to be over there. I'm in a hurry and I want to get through. It takes about 10 to 15 minutes to add up her bill, and then I'm in a hurry and I want to get through, and she couldn't be in this line, shouldn't be in this line in the first place. And then after oh, I knew it, the coupons, it's the coupons. I take another 10 minutes to add up her bill again, and and she gets to her she gets out her checkbook, and then it takes 10 minutes to write the check, and she shouldn't be in this line in the first place, and I'm in a hurry. And then she stand there and balances her checkbook. Now, if I could practice these principles in the supermarket checkout line, I could be happy there too. There too. So this has been going on since the 1930s. This is almost 100 years of people in the checkout line rooting for everybody else.
Amazing.
But what we're saying is it's really up to us. We have the tools, haven't we? We've got 11 steps that if we use them in our daily in our lives and on a daily basis, we can be happy, peaceful, and serene 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 4 weeks out of the month, and 12 months out of the year, if we choose to do so. But it's entirely up to us, and nobody can do it for us. Nobody will do it for us. We will have to do this with God's help the rest of our lives if we want to be happy, peaceful, and free. And it really does work if we're willing to work for it. So the rest of this is just an assignment. Yeah, that is the rest of, that's the workshop. We have finished. That's
Yeah.
cool. So I think we'll start this back up in January again, I guess. Make it a thing, and then maybe I don't know, get into that Dr. Bob and the good old timers thing or something.
Yeah. We could even do like literature. So like one person can like a book club, but one person can just read one of the pieces of literature and then present it to the group with highlights and things.
Oh, that would be cool.
Maybe.
Like a different piece of literature. That would be cool instead of being in like the same book.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'd actually be something kind of fun too, even if no one can attend, like just something to do. I don't know, that might help me in my recovery too, look at different literature.
Yeah, and to kind of explain it to the
Yeah.
group, which, whenever I explain things, I always learn it better myself.
And you never know what works with people, just like, Joe and Charlie. It's not AA approved literature, but I mean, they have a whole study that's helped a lot of people, you know. There's just so many little things. It's kind of like a step 11 almost, taught through some sort of
Yeah.
like different prayers, meditations, to just anything to improve our conscious contact with God in a sense.
Yep. I know the literature is the fastest way. You just open any piece to any page and start reading, and I feel better.
Yeah. I
And
do
I-
too. I don't know, it's only like Wednesday, and I was just like, oh, it's already a little bit of a long school week, but I always, even doing this, even if it's by myself, but it's much better if there's other ones attending, but I always feel better after talking with another alcoholic every single time.
Yeah, me too. That's why I feel blessed when like the phone rings or I get a text from another alcoholic because it blesses me. It secures my sobriety. You know, they say it's a selfish program, so I'm selfishly glad when I have contact with anybody.
Me too. Me too. But
Well,
I'm
really, really excited that you got this first one under your belt because I feel like now you can take it and run. And I mean, with 1 year sobriety, you started this, and I'm so impressed and so
thank you.
grateful.
This
Really,
is a great way to practice it and learn what a study is about.
yeah,
You know, I'm sure, as with anything, it'll get better. This was like my first, I didn't read this before we went through it, you know, we did this at the same time and together,
yeah.
but yeah, just like the last reading here, it really does work if we're willing to work for it. So I hope anybody that else that watched this got something out of this study. And next week, I guess I'll bring some piece of literature.
Okay,
I don't know what it is yet. So,
okay.
all right.
All
Thanks,
right. Great to
Jen.
see you. Thanks, Jess.
Have a great day. Bye.
Bye.